A fault on a train between Barnum and Worthing means some lines are blocked. Department for Transport orders halt to work on the north-east section of HS2 high-speed rail line. Plans to redevelop Peckham Rye Overground Station in London. Steam locomotive 35006 runs through Cheltenham for shareholders. London Underground's new £2.50 tolls on bridges and tunnels could help pay for tube as charges do for New York subway. Good evening and welcome to Railway News Today. A fault on a train between Barnum and Worthing means some lines are blocked. Disruption is expected until 12 p.m. Railway News Today, West Sussex. Now, Department for Transport orders halt to work on the north-east section of HS2 high-speed rail line. Work on the eastern leg of the high-speed 2 rail line has stopped. The project's chief executive has admitted officials are busy preparing plans to extend the HS2 line northwest to Manchester, but they have been told by the Department for Transport to halt work on the planned section between Birmingham and the East Midlands and onwards to Leeds. HS2 Chief Executive Mark Tilson said, "We wait to be guided by the department on what we do with the Eastern Link. The HS2 network will run between London and Birmingham with track continuing northwest to Quare and into Manchester. The original plan also included track running northeast from Birmingham to the East Midlands and into Yorkshire, but the government has ordered a review of the scheme with a decision to be published in a document called the Integrated Rail Plan for the North and Midlands. To lose HS2's eastern leg would mean MPR going back to the drawing board to deliver connectivity between these great cities, importing more delay and cost into MPR. The first phase of HS2 running between London and Birmingham is due to be opened by 2033 and will be within its budget of £35 million, including £10 billion country, Mr. Thurston told MPs. Railway News Today, Birmingham. Our other latest stories: plans to redevelop Peckham Rye Overground Station in London. Today, this is how a major revamp of a busy station on the London Underground map could look if funding is secured. South Ward Council has applied for £25 million from the government's Levelling Up Fund to go towards revamping Peckham Rye Overground Station. Council chiefs have redeveloped the plans in partnership with Network Rail, which have already received £1 million from the Department for Transport for redesigning the station. She said, levelling up funding for £25 million will contribute towards a major and long overdue upgrade of Peckham Rye Station to ensure that it is fully accessible for all passengers. The project will improve access throughout the station, reducing peak overcrowding through the creation of an additional station entrance and a new at-grade concourse, featuring 2 expanded gate lines along with larger passageways throughout. Lift access will be introduced to all platforms, and it will include the creation of an additional platform to eliminate overcrowding on the existing platforms 1 and 2 for improved passenger safety. Railway News Today, London. For the steam enthusiasts, steam locomotive 35006 runs through Cheltenham for shareholders. The 35006 locomotive Preserved Society held its annual Members and Shareholders Day last week. The day took place on Saturday 17th of July 2021 after 35006 Peninsula and Onkaparinga SN Co. had been in service on the Gloucestershire-Warwickshire Railway. 160 members and shareholders attended the day, with many enjoying picnics. 35006 hold a round trip from Toddington to Broadway via Cheltenham Racecourse and back in the warm evening sunshine. Before the 13506 was put on display in the car park to allow attendees to get up and close with the locomotive before the round trip. 3506 is a member of the Southern Railway Merchant Railway class with compared 30 locomotives named after shipping companies, both in recognition of wartime services and significance of these mentioned sympathy, and which use the railway's south coast ports. Railways news today, Cheltenham. Now we move to the TfL network. London Underground. New £2.50 tolls on bridges and tunnels could help pay for tubers' charges due for New York subway. London's river crossings came under intense security at the most recent meeting of the London Assembly Transport Committee. The section, which lasted around 3 hours, tackled the complicated ownership models of our city's bridges and tunnels, plus future plans to increase cross-river connectivity. In order to support the panel of Assembly members in their security, transport expert Dr. Michael Pindler, a professor at NUT Tandon School of Engineering and former New York Traffic Commissioner, was invited to speak at the meeting virtually from the United States. His message was clear. In New York City, there are bridges that are tolled. Their own operation and funding is generated by tolls solely. The tolls raise so much money that, he added, part of the tolls have actually been subsidizing the public transport. Tolls in New York provide 12% of the MTA's TfL's equivalent to New York income, more than what the congestion charge and ultra-low emission zone being to TfL. This means that TfL could look to increase road pricing and tolls in the capital to make up £300 million in new income or saving it has make as part of its £1.9 billion central government bailout deal. In 2019, the MTA made £2,146,000,000 on the tolls alone, money TfL could do with. The professor responded, tolling today, due to technological advances, can be done based on the vehicle's miles or travel. Therefore, the control of the overview vehicle traffic in the city can be used to support general critical. If one bridge charges and another one does not, what happens is people will try to find a new way to travel on the roads that are not tolled. It's important to look in a very unmastered way. In New York, most bridges and tunnels between Manhattan and surrounding boroughs are toll roads. Unless you walk, cycle, or take the subway or bus across the bridges, you have to pay around $16, £11.70p, meaning a return trip could be costly. Gareth Powell, TfL's Director of Surface Transport, told the committee that Bar Hammersmith Bridge, the one that needs the most repairs and maintenance, is Rotting Hill Tunnel. He also added that Vauxhall Bridge will need additional repairs within the next 5 years. Railway news today, London.